So at a glance, this is what we're going to be covering. So as you can see, we're going to go through how scents impact your emotions, how certain scents make us feel a certain way. We're also going to understand how perfumes are made, the fact that they are made with natural and synthetic ingredients. Okay, we're going to understand the importance between the two, the different iconic families of perfumery, but this time through the Black collection.
Okay.
All right, so that's how different it is from the level one. All
So
right.
in the advanced workshop, all the ingredients will be from the Black collection.
That's the focus, but
Okay.
we are not stopping you from using the
Okay,
exclusive
okay.
scents also, because some of the exclusive scents you kind of need them also.
Right, right. Okay.
Right? Okay, so as you can see, it's just a short presentation about perfumery. We're going to discover the Black collection, infuse your own perfume. This is where you will assemble it. And then we can also engrave your bottle name.
Oh,
So not just customizing the scents, but even just a little label on the bottle. It'll be a nice touch. Okay, so what does it say here? Fragrance is our most powerful tool for connecting to emotion. What do you think about that?
I totally agree.
Totally agree, yeah. So actually, I just have a short explanation on why we say this. So, anything that you smell, not necessarily perfume, you actually have what we call the scent molecules. Okay, so in perfume, in flowers, in anything, in cooking even. So these molecules are actually picked up by the nose receptors that we have in our noses, which then is sent through electrical signals to your brain, more specifically in the limbic area, where a lot of your emotions and your feelings are processed. Okay, so that is why maybe there are certain scents like citrusy notes that makes you feel energized, helps you get your day started. Maybe floral notes help you feel more relaxed, or even aromatic notes help you feel relaxed. But this is just a quick explanation on how from that scent molecule, it can have a huge impact on how you feel. Actually, a lot of your different companies,
Right.
they leverage on this fact that human beings remember a lot of what you smell. Okay, do you know the smell of Starbucks?
Yeah, just
Or
came from
the exactly, or the smell of
Yeah, coffee
cookie
beans,
shops,
yeah.
bakeries, things like
Right,
that.
right,
So
right.
then before you even see them, you can already smell. All right, so that's how powerful scents are, and that's how it runs in our identity. Okay, so for this part, this is actually the part where we break down perfumery. Have you heard of traditional perfumery and niche perfumery?
Okay, let's just say no.
Okay, so based on what you see, so let's see on that Picasso artwork. The first three bowls on top represents traditional perfumery. The bottom three are niche perfumery. Based on the artwork, just on what you can see, what can you tell between the two?
Niche perfumery maybe requires more imagination,
Okay, okay. Whereas for traditional, it's
more like outline or drawn out, or
it's right there, right?
it's
So
just
the
right
bowl, as you can see from the artwork, it looks like what a bowl would look like.
there.
Whereas for a niche perfumery at the bottom
More
three,
abstract, yeah.
it's more abstract. Yes, so you're right. So you need a little bit more imagination. So there's two types of perfumery. So traditional perfumery, it's really more complex in terms of the composition. You can see you have up to 150 to 300 ingredients that they use. Okay, of course, it's a combination of naturals and synthetics. Niche perfumery, on the other hand, it focuses on the main ingredients that we use in perfume. So not so many as a traditional. You have about 30 to 80 different ingredients used in perfume.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, so in this way, you appreciate the different raw materials used better in terms of niche perfumery. So then let's understand a little bit more on the difference between naturals and synthetics. Did you know that synthetics are widely used in perfumery? Right? So some people, they might think that, oh, synthetic, I don't want to use that.
Right.
It's man-made, things like this. But for this atelier, this is really actually where we educate you, and we really let you know that both plays a very different, important role in creating your perfume combinations. Okay, so let's get to know a little bit more about the naturals, what they are, why is it so important in perfumery, why some of them are very expensive. Okay, so basically, by definition, natural ingredients, these are ingredients that comes from nature. We can obtain them from flowers, roots, trees, spices, aromats, and even citrusy notes. However, not everything is exploitable, right? So for flowers, you have jasmine, you have rose, tuberose, ilang. There are certain flowers like white lily that doesn't give off any scent. For roots, you have patchouli, you have vetiver, sandalwood from the woody notes, spices like pink pepper and cinnamon, aromats like lavender, thyme, rosemary, and mint, and maybe one of the cheaper natural ingredients that you can find out there are actually from the citrus. Because sometimes they are byproducts. For instance, like orange, then you use the rind, the peels, Although for bergamot it's a little bit special, we don't drink bergamot. There's no like bergamot juice or what. Although it's used in Earl Grey tea, right? But bergamot is one of the more special citrusy notes. So just to give you an impression, I'm going to let you try 3 natural scents. So then you have an impression of what a natural smells
sure.
like. Okay, because for this, these are what we call a accord, so it's already a blend. So let's start off with like a citrus note. Okay, keep in mind naturals and synthetics, right? They can be quite different. Some of them are a little bit more pungent, a little bit more sharp, a bit more metallic, but so take your time when you smell. So this is mandarin oil. So have a whiff, let me know what it reminds you of. So this is an example of a citrus natural essential. So which is mandarin in this case.
Reminds of Chinese New Year.
Oh, there you go. Okay, and then we have floral. So for this one, I'm gonna let you try one of the most sophisticated ingredient. I mean, you hear rose a lot, but actually it's a very sophisticated ingredient in perfumery. So just to share with you, right, you need about 5,000 kilograms of petals to make only 1 liter of essential oil.
Oh wow.
Okay, and then sometimes why is it so expensive is because they need to pluck the rose petals by hand before sunrise. So that's how special rose is. So I'm gonna let you try. So that's rose. So it's a little bit more powdery, a little bit softer. And then there's also the other side to the naturals, which is a little bit more intense.
Okay.
So we're gonna try the spice, which is pink pepper.
Okay.
Oh. Have you used like spicy perfumes before?
Yeah, I have a pepper and tobacco.
Wow. Perhaps for the evening. Okay, so this is pink pepper.
Okay.
It's been diluted a little bit, so it's not too strong. But you can definitely get that smoky, exactly. It reminds you of food. The heavily peppered
Very nice.
dishes. All right, so now you have an impression of a citrus, a floral, and a spicy natural oil. Okay, but then there's actually one more natural ingredient that I'd like to introduce to you. So, which is the most popular and very luxurious ingredient in fragrance called oud or agar wood. Okay, so agar wood, just to give you an introduction again, it comes from the Aquilaria tree, which is the botanical name of it, otherwise agar tree, which is native in Laos and Vietnam. Okay, so the story of this dying tree is because when it's infected with parasitic molds, it gives off this defense mechanism where it produces within the bark of the tree this resin. It's very thick, warm, woody resin, which is what we use in perfumery. So what they will do is they will cut this into wood chips, which they will then send for steam distillation. It allows the wood chips to open up and then get that resin out, and then you separate it from the wood and then use the essence as a perfume.
Okay, so this is a very laborious process, which
exactly.
is one of the most expensive ingredients in perfumery.
And this is very interesting because it's a very popular ingredient in the Middle East. It has become quite an essential part of the Arabic culture, right? So in the Middle East, if you go to the Middle East, you see a lot of oud. They sell it everywhere. They use it in mosques. They use it in their homes. So it's become very much a part of their culture, right? So I'm going to let you try a natural oud oil. And this is very warm. You can smell it. It's a little bit sweet, but it's giving off this intensity as well, right? It's quite sophisticated actually. It's definitely a special occasion scent for me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let you try the oud from our black collection later on. All right. So actually, right, even for oud, one of the most expensive prices it fetched when it was sold in the US in 2010 was $100,000 per kilogram. So of course we're talking about one of the most superior grades of oud that was ever sold. So that's how expensive an oud oil can go. Okay, but of course there are so many other ingredients in perfumery which are very valuable and very luxurious. So just let me share with you. We have grey amber, or otherwise known in French as ambergris. It's a scent that comes from sperm whales' vomit. Right, so it's a natural process. However, so they, sometimes when the whales, there's something that they cannot digest, they will actually, vomit it out in the ocean, which can take about a year. It's floating in the ocean for a year before it washes offshore, and then it forms into that grey ambery rock that you see in the image. We have oud, which we just talked about. Rose also, like I mentioned, it's a very tedious process when they pluck the leaves before sunrise, and then they send it for distillation on the same day, which is why it's very expensive also. And then orris, which comes from the root of the iris flower. I'm sure you've heard of this one. So it's a little bit more powdery, a bit more soft floral. But what's so special about this is that they have to dry the roots for up to 5 years underground with no sunlight before it can actually produce this molecule called rhizome, which gives off this very powdery and luxurious smell. Okay, so these are some of the other ingredients which are very much valued in perfumery even up to this day. Okay, just to share with you, these are some of the places where we source some of our raw materials from. This is to ensure that we are only sourcing from the finest places and getting the purest of these materials. So for example, our rose comes from Turkey, we have our lavender mimosa from France, we've got oud from Vietnam and Laos, and patchouli from Indonesia, maybe closer to home. Okay? Now, let's talk about synthetic. Just by the word synthetic, what is your impression? Do you have any certain connotations when you hear or when you read about synthetic?
Usually they're not as good as natural. I think that's what most people will assume. And maybe people will be more concerned with allergies or things like that, especially when apply to the skin, right?
Correct. So this is normal. Everybody would have this impression. But so let me give you a better understanding of how synthetic ingredients are used in perfumery and why do we still use it. So in synthetic ingredients for perfume, right, of course, by definition, like you said, it's man-made, it's artificially manufactured in the labs by your perfumers, but there are two types of synthetic molecules. So the first one is actually the kind that is meant to be a copy of things from nature.
Okay.
So for example, right, you've got real vanilla.
Right.
Real vanilla essential oil, but then maybe you want to do a reconstitution of the scent of vanilla, maybe to cut cost, because some vanilla can be very expensive also. Then we have what we call vanillin.
I see, okay.
Which is the synthetic reconstitution of a vanilla. So that's type number one. And then the second type is, this one is to broaden the creativity of the perfumers, to give a wider palette to the perfumers, which is why they create things that never existed in nature. Okay, so what we're gonna smell today are basically two examples of reconstitution. So we're gonna try cologne and cis-trihexanol. So what is cologne? So actually it's a molecule that is very popularized by Acqua di Gio from Giorgio Armani. So they use this, something very ozonic, something that gives you that sea breeze, you're by the ocean, things like that. So that is cologne. And I'm gonna let you try. And then you let me know if it really does remind you of
the sea.
The sea, exactly. It's very clean.
Yeah, it actually does.
It's very transparent,
Very fresh, yeah.
Exactly. So that's cologne. So the thing is, from here you can already tell, right, how important synthetic molecules are. Without this cologne, you won't even have Acqua di Gio, one of your most iconic perfumes in the industry, to even up to this day. The second one we're gonna try is another type of reconstitution that is meant to recreate a very green scent. Very herbaceous, very sometimes it's like freshly cut grass kind of smell. So this one is called cis-trihexanol. All right, but of course in the labs there's thousands of different synthetic molecules that they can possibly recreate. All right, so let me know what it reminds you of.
Oh, it actually really does smell like freshly cut grass. Yeah.
It's very green. It's like after the rain.
So yes, I see that it's used in Chanel 19.
Chanel 19, yes. So another very iconic perfumery in the industry. So using cis-trihexanol. All right, so that's why synthetic molecules, right, as taboo it might sound to some people, it actually is a very important component of perfumery nowadays.
So you talk about this, sometimes a misconception, not say misconception, but an assumption that let's say synthetic materials maybe could trigger allergies or it's good for the skin or
exactly.
Like that.
Because the reason behind this, right, I feel like it's because of when people mistake the word synthetic to using chemicals.
Right.
Yeah, so whereas synthetic, it's really
okay,
just,
okay.
I could be doing synthetic reconstitutions using other natural ingredients, you know?
So in this case, synthetic does not mean like using chemicals or using
No, not at all.
particularly harmful
Not at
chemicals,
all.
but it's really just a
Yes.
man-made process of.
It's a copy.
It's a copy.
It's a copy, to simply put it.
Okay.
There is another synthetic molecule that I'd like to let you try because I think it's very interesting. It's not on the deck, but before I let you know what it is, maybe I let you smell first.
Okay, sure.
And this is also used in one of the most, if not the most, iconic perfume to have been ever made. So I'm gonna let you try. It is a little bit stronger though, so
Okay.
just a bit of a warning. It's quite strong,
wow.
right? It's very metallic, it's punchy, it's very sharp. But what does it remind you of? Oof. I find it really strong.
It is very strong. I mean, you're right. It's very metallic, like iron, like blood.
Exactly.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. So
you'll be surprised that this molecule is actually used in Chanel No. 5.
Oh, okay.
Which is meant to be one of the most classic, ladies' perfume out there.
Yeah, it was very strong. It's very.
It's in your face.
Yeah,
I would say it's very,
cuts
very
through,
sharp.
yeah.
Yes. So the thing about this, it's called aldehyde,
Right.
C12.
Okay.
It was not intended when they were creating Chanel No. 5.
Also, it was it's almost like an accidental mistake.
Exactly. But you can see how Chanel No. 5 has become such an icon in today's perfume, right?
Okay.
So aldehyde, it's, to me, it reminds me of like burnt iron. It's like it's got this very strong metallic scent and also very sharp. And then of course they mix it with loads of other floral notes, and that's what gave birth to Chanel No. 5. All right. So of course, for both naturals and synthetic ingredients, they have very different effects on the composition of the fragrance. Sometimes naturals, they are not strong enough to give the depth in your perfume. So that's why sometimes you still need synthetic molecules for that to really give it that performance boost. However, for some synthetics also, even though they kind of lower the cost for some natural ingredients, which can be very expensive, it can be very pungent and sharp. So it takes a little bit more focus and attention to really balance it to make a nice composition. All right, so that's natural and synthetic ingredients. All right, so actually now what we're going to be doing is we're going to smell and understand the different scent families through the Black Collection. But before we proceed with that, if you want, these are just 3 simple tips in how you can better appreciate the scents. So you can close your eyes if you want. Really put a picture on the scent that you're smelling, associate it with an image. And also it will be very good for you to compare amongst one another. All right, so you can smell the citrusy versus the woody to the fruity notes. So then you have a better understanding of what combination you might want to put in your perfume bottle. All right, so that's how you can smell along the way. But let's talk about the Black Collection, because this is really the highlight of our workshop today, the Advanced Atelier. Okay, so what is the Black Collection? So basically for the Black Collection, it really boasts the artistry, or in French, they call it the savoir-faire of the French perfumers. All right, so we've got different scents and molecules that we're going to be trying later on. But it really is a little bit more rare, a little bit more rich in terms of the depth of the perfume. You'll realize that compared to the exclusive collection, it's a little bit more intense and heavy, which is why you can even go up to extrait de parfum with the Black Collection, not just EDP. All right, so but ultimately, this is the curation of Johanna and some of the French perfumers which she has worked with to really boast the Parisian flair in terms of perfumery. Now we're going to try the different scent families through the Black Collection. So I'm going to go through with you scent by scent. This is also the stage where you can select what you like from what you dislike. So we can start on the elimination process also.
So this is the stage where basically the introduction, where the presentation is
over. Yes, it has ended. So now, of course, with the help of the slides, we are now still going to try the ingredients.